When it comes to creator programs, I've seen basically three different models. There's the Illuvium model right now, where it's basically based on revenue. So you have a creator code, and I'm sure everyone here knows this. Hopefully, you're using either code Najaf or code Paz. The revenue that you bring in, a certain percentage of it basically goes to the creator. Pretty simple. Or for both of us, an incentive for us to make content is for you guys to use our creator codes and spend money in the game. There are some pros and cons to that. Just quickly, the con is, if the game isn't, I guess, if it's not fun, it's not generating enough money, then that kind of hurts the creator, because they might not be bringing in that much revenue. So it might make them feel like, let's just make less content because I'm not bringing in that much anyways. But anyways, so then there's another model, which is kind of like what Xborg was using. So I was in the creator program for the past 3 months. How they ran it was, they just had a group of content creators, and they also had like a pool of funds. And basically, throughout the month, you would just make your content for their brand, and then at the end of the month, they would divvy out the rewards that they had in that pool. And then in this case, they had a set number. It was 50 content creators, and if people weren't pulling their weight, they'd purge them at the end of the month and then bring in some people new. Again, there are pros and cons to that. I think the con is that
Troubleshoot. All right, so go. The pros and cons.
yeah. So I was saying the pros and cons to the XBG model is, for one, there's no like creator safety. Like, for example, like I said, I was making content, and it was paying out pretty well. But then at 3 months in, and then I just I get the word yesterday that I just got purged out of the system. So now going into next month, I'm not in the creator program anymore. Doesn't mean I won't make anything about Xborg. It just means, like, now that I'm out of that system, there's really no incentive for me to do it anymore. And then the third model, I guess, would be more of like your KOL model, where you have a content creator and the project wants to pay X amount of money for X amount of content, or have some kind of like contract built in where at the end of this month you're going to get this amount of money or coins, and then this is what we expect out of content. And which one do you think is like the best model to go with? And then TSG, I want to hear what you have to say about this too. This directly has to deal with you.
Yeah, I think the best one is the one that TSG brought to us with the Alliance program, because it actually rewards based on metrics. Like, actually, the value you provide is very, like, you can see it. There is no like artificial value. It can't be really gained like other projects. Like, we had that before, where depending on how many views you get money. And it was like people were buying 10,000 views on Twitter or on TikTok. So that was pretty bad. It was easily to be cheated.
Yeah.
And I've seen it in the community pop up right now, where people are suggesting, hey, take away council pay and give it to streamers, like just taking in their own hands when Illuvium should market and how they should market and push the marketing, which, yeah, I don't know if people with 5 viewers right now should be getting a lot of money. I don't think there is value. I don't think we need marketing right now, and I think it would be the wrong time. And yeah, I do like the Alliance program, and everything else is maybe something good for the short term, like Xbox just pushing out with a lot of content creators who are super excited because they get a lot of money, same like we did in Illuvium in the beginning. But in the long term, I think you have to switch to a sustainable model, which is more the Alliance program with a referral link, where you can actually check the numbers, how many people are they bringing in, how much revenue are they generating, and you have the exact number, how much it actually costs to acquire users through this program.
TSG, I want to hear what you have to say, but I just want to say that I do think that the Illuvium model, the one that Taryn here is kind of put together, I do think that is the best model long term, in a healthy gaming environment. We know there's been a lot of ups and downs with Illuvium. Right now, I think we're on a down. We got a lot coming forward, but I think in the end, that is the best model. It's just a little discouraging because someone like me, I had a good November and December with Illuvium Beyond coming on, and then January, I don't think I made anything because there wasn't that much revenue coming in. But TSG, what do you got on this? I know you've looked at all of these models.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's the first thing I'll say is I appreciate the kind words you guys have said about the Alliance program that we've put together. It definitely was a team effort. It wasn't just something that I did. In terms of the other creator programs, there's two ways that we need to look at it from the creator point of view and then the business point of view as well. So a creator like yourself is going to say, hey, I'm like, what's my incentive? What do I get out of it? And from the business point of view, they're actually going to be thinking the exact same thing. What do they get out of it? And the answer to that is there's many things that they can get out of it. They can get just viewership. Does that translate into actual players? No. Is it valuable? It can be, depending on the stage that you're in. For example, Illuvium in 2021, when we didn't have a game, viewership was at an all-time high. That was incredibly valuable for us. It really helped Illuvium be the standout game. I'm not referring to token price, just me in terms of reputation-wise. It was incredibly valuable because of that. So it depends on what stage the business is at and what they want to do. If you want user acquisition, maybe they don't generate revenue. But if you have 100,000 players, that's worth something, right? You can go to VCs, you can get raising of it, you can monetize them at a later date. I mean, that's what games like Dota did. It was a mod on Warcraft 3. They came out with Dota 2. If I'm not mistaken, there was no monetization model for quite some time before they started introducing season passes and skins and cosmetics and things like that. But they had brought in that player base. And then you've got the third option, which is generating revenue, right? How do you do that? So the creator program is really going to reflect on what the goal is for the business. And I think there is, for example, Lizard Labs, I think has done a really good job. I don't believe that their objective is revenue generation. It's more awareness. So I think what they've done is really, really good for that. So yeah, in terms of longevity, I do believe the alliance program structure is the one to go in the long term. In terms of marketing with Illuvium, people forget that in month one, we did have at least 100,000 people. I forget the exact number, but it was like 100,000 plus people that tried the game. So it wasn't that the program, and this when I bring this up, I'm referring to it in the creator program as well. The creator program generated quite a lot of revenue. And I don't think that it was an issue with the program. I think there was some we've made this public now that we're aware of the flaws in the economy and things like that we're trying to rectify. That was the downfall. I don't think that was a creator program problem. I think that was a game design.
I completely agree. I don't think it was the programs wasn't the problem. I think it is the best program going forward. It's just the other issues that prevented people from wanting to spend money in the game.
And yeah, and I'll just say this one last thing as well, and I think I want to make this very clear when people think about this is the alliance program or a program of that structure isn't one where we say, hey, we don't want to pay you. It's actually the opposite. It's we want to pay you. So yeah, like I say, it's not one of those, this kind of program isn't we don't want to pay creators. It's a good way to identify them and then double down on the winning creators without taking that risk.